program may contain language of an adult nature. Listener discretion is advised.
Views and opinions expressed on the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of alltalkradio.net.
Hey, yo, check this out. This is Flavor Flav, and you are watching Dontaesboxingnation, baby.
Welcome to Dontaesboxingnation Show here on alltalkradio.net. Now here's your host, Dante.
What's going on, guys? alltalkradio.net, boxingtalk.com, and we have another wonderful show over here at the Dontaesboxingnation Show. Let me first go ahead and introduce my guests online. Norrin Radical is not in with us today. Two of these guys right here, they have some of the best YouTube channels on YouTube. Mr. AKA Rap King, what's up, man?
What's up, AK in the house.
And my man Egosworld, what's going on?
Yes, y'all.
And also my man Marquise is in the building with us for the second time. What's going on, Marquise?
What's happening?
Let's get it in, y'all. Once again, man, we had a real busy weekend. I myself had a busy weekend, man. Went to California, did the little holiday thing. We went to Universal Studios, got all wet and shit while it was raining out there, but it's all good. Had a good time, man. But it was a lot of good fights this past weekend. Tyson Fury, he got a very repetitive, not too inspiring, second victory over Tyson Fury. And we had Chris Eubanks, who lost to Billy Saunders, two undefeated fighters. That was a really good fight, man, a really, really good fight. I wanted to make a video about it, but I didn't. But before we talk about the fight that stole the whole weekend, which was Crawford versus Kovalev-Pascal, I just wanted to give my quick thoughts on Eubank versus Saunders, because it kind of correlates to Crawford's his fight when he fought against Ricky Burns, when he fought against Kovalev-Pascal, because Crawford was able to adjust when he fought against these opponents. Now this was, excuse me. Now this was Chris Eubank's first step up. They were both undefeated, and the problem in that fight was, this is what I was always taught: you box a banger and you bang a boxer. But Chris Eubank, he went in there and he tried to box with the boxer, and he ended up falling behind on the scorecards, and then he ended up looking desperate in the later rounds. He looked pretty good, but you got to give credit to Billy Joe Saunders for really looking a lot better. He adjusted, he boxed, he had a great jab, and Eubank, he couldn't adjust. Like I said, constantly relying on landing the uppercut, and he ended up getting outboxed because he waited too long. So, let that be a lesson to him. This is what separates the great fighters, man. This is what separates the great fighters. You step in there with a fighter who is on another level, at least, or on your level in this situation where you guys are both undefeated, you guys are both young, and this is your time to shine. And Chris Eubank, he didn't shine. He didn't shine, and that's pretty much what it is. I'm sure he'll come back. I'm sure he'll learn from the loss, and that's pretty much what it is. So let's go ahead and let's get into the main fight this weekend, since I know a lot of you guys didn't catch all of these fights, and they're pretty much not really worth talking about that much. So let's go ahead and get into the Crawford versus Kovalev-Pascal fight, man. A unanimous decision. It was a very impressive performance by Crawford, candidate of Fighter of the Year, which we're going to talk about, Fighter of the Year later on. But Marquise, let's go ahead and get your thoughts, man. What did you think? What was so impressive about this performance by your boy Crawford?
Okay, what was so impressive to me was how he was able to give Beltran angles, and when he was giving him angles, it'll be at a point where he was on the ropes, and Kovalev-Pascal would try to cloud him. So once he hit those angles on him, he was facing toward the ropes, and Crawford was behind him. And another thing that really impressed me was how he used the jab so effectively.
Yeah.
And everybody should know, in boxing, jab is the key thing in boxing because it set up pretty much everything. Right hand leads, counters, whatever, He basically had him in there just confused. Yeah. And he really didn't have no answer to what Crawford was really possessing in the fight. It was times here and there he got off some good shots, you know, especially in round 2. So in round 2, once he caught Crawford with a right hand, Crawford answered responsibly.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, he responded within like 3 seconds with another shot and got him back and got
hurt
him
him.
buzzed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And hurt him.
So that was my take on the fight. He didn't have no answer for the slickness, the jab, or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Now, Ego, my man Ego's World, he was out there actually covering the event. He went out there and watched it live. First thing I want to ask you, Ego, is how was the atmosphere, man? Because just listening on TV, it felt like I was watching a Lakers game or something. How was the atmosphere, and how was your experience covering the fight?
Man, I had a great time. Shout out to all the people, the good folk in Nebraska, Omaha. They really embraced all the boxing fans. There was a packed crowd, about 11,000 people, and it was just electric. The whole venue. I've never been in the CenturyLink Theater. Actually, I've never been to Omaha, but I've never been in the venue. The venue was live. There was just a lot of you could feel the energy. That's the only way I could describe it. It got so bad to one point where I think I don't have my round numbers memorized because I haven't watched it a second time, but the bell rung, and at the end of the action, I think Ray Beltran landed a shot and Terrence Crawford responded, and it was towards the end of the round. I could not hear the bell ring. That's how loud it was. That's how live it was. The crowd really got behind their person, and I was literally I was in the second row, in press row, and I couldn't hear the bell, and I knew the round was going to end. So it was just electric as far as the atmosphere.
Nice. And how would you rate his performance, Crawford defeating Ray Beltran, Ego?
Oh, I thought it was exceptional. The thing I like about Crawford, he's younger. He's a younger fighter who hasn't got all the recognition of some of the bigger names that, you know what I mean, like the Danny Garcia might be a bigger name in the sport, got more publicity or whatever you want to call it. But what I like about Crawford is he shows his skill and he adapts from fight to fight. Mm-hmm. The way he fought Ricky Burns, the way he fought Gamboa, the way he fought Beltran, they're all different. And he shows you just what he has in his tool shed. Like Marquise said, he has a jab, which is a forgotten tool in boxing. He shows that he's defensively responsible. And people shit on Ray Beltran, but a lot of the fights that he had, like people, if you look on Wikipedia or BoxRec, you'll see some losses on Beltran's record. But he's actually a solid dude, both in-ring and outside the ring. And a lot of his fights, like he had a draw with Ricky Burns, I interviewed Max Kellerman, and we both agreed that Ray Beltran should have won that fight. He broke his jaw, he knocked him down, and he looked more impressive. But he got a draw. Ricky Burns kept his belt, things like that. Sharif Bogaray is another one that comes to mind where he didn't get the win, but I thought he should have got the win, and there's a lot of other people. So Beltran was solid. I don't think it was so much what Beltran did wrong, but more or less what Terrence Crawford was doing right. I think he just didn't have the tools to compete with Terrence Crawford as opposed to coming out with the poor game plan. He came out with the right game plan. He just couldn't execute at that level against a fighter like Terrence Crawford. So I like what I've seen. And the last thing I'll say is when I interviewed Max Kellerman, he was basically saying the same thing. Terrence Crawford has a lot of dog in him. Mm-hmm. As soon as he was buzzed or hurt or caught with a good shot, he immediately wanted his retaliation, his get back, and he showed you that. So I really don't see how you can't like the kid. Some people are like, oh, this fighter is boring, this sucks. I mean, he's giving you all the dynamics a fight fan could really want. He's humble, he has skill set, he has defense, he shows the dog that he's ready to engage, you know what I mean, with his offense. It's just, I think he's a complete fighter. I'm looking forward to his future.
He's definitely an all-around fighter. You know, he can do it all. Go ahead.
I don't know if y'all might agree with me, but, you know, when he switched from southpaw to orthodox switch hitter, it kind of put me in the mind of Andre Dirrell, just a slight
No, you're right. That's the closest comparison I could think of right now, because he's like one of the only people who does it very comfortable. But Crawford, man, like I said, yeah, the way he switches and the way he uses his jab, man. I mean, with that quick, stiff jab. And like I said, I'm noticing how he's throwing the jab. He throws it from a distance to where it's so long and it's so quick, it's very difficult to even counter him with the jab. Another thing that I noticed, too, is Jim Lampley The only 2 times he really got excited in the fight was when Ray Beltran actually landed 2 good shots. But then all of a sudden, you know, he had to bring the excitement down when he realized that Crawford wasn't hurt. That's another good thing about Crawford is he takes a very good punch, you know, so he could take a good shot and he comes right back. Like you said before, I was going to talk about that. You guys all, you know, hit those points. He takes a good shot and he has a lot of dog in him. You know, he's a boxer, but he's more of a tough boxer. You know, he has a lot of toughness in him. So he's going to be hard to deal with. And like I said in my video before, man, a lot of people are going to be avoiding this guy. If he moves up to 140, I don't really see too many fighters fighting him. And to respond to what Ego said, you know, now people are already starting to call him boring, which is something I already suspected because we already know what time it is. Once you start to reach a certain level and, you know, you just may not be the type of fighter that some of these decafs like, you know, that's going to happen. So I'm thinking we got to come up with we have to term a phrase or a word that basically describes these type of fighters that are in this list right now. And it's not just fighters, it's people in general in the sport of boxing. I mean, you have Mayweather, you have Bradley, you have Rigo, you have Lara, you have Andre Ward, and now it looks like the new person added onto that list is about to be Crawford because he's starting to become more relevant. I mean, is that how you see it, AK, or what?
Oh, yeah, of course, man. You know, it comes with a package, you know.
Yeah,
but at the same time, you know, as far as Crawford, his performance, he really looked great against Beltran. And Beltran was a solid opponent. And in my opinion, Crawford had to take that fight with Beltran because Beltran was the original guy who beat Ricky Burns first. So he should have been the team. But, you know, Crawford, because Crawford beat Ricky Burns after Beltran did, but, you know, Beltran got Rocky dropped. But, you know, Crawford did his thing, beat Ricky Burns, and then he fought Gamboa, and he hit Beltran. So if he had moved up, he wouldn't have on bracket. So it's a great thing he got that straight and fought Beltran and got him out of the way. And, you know, something that Marquise talked about in Ego when he heard when Beltran landed a good shot, I think in the second or third round, and Crawford responded right away. You know, again, when you get caught by a punch that you don't see, a hurt one punch that you see coming. Even though Beltran punch was a harder shot, in my opinion, but Crawford seen it coming. But Crawford caught him with a check left hook that he didn't, right hook, that he didn't see coming, and that's why Beltran, you know, was so hurt. And that was the same punch he caught Gamboa with. And actually, when Beltran got caught, when Crawford got caught at first with the right hand, he was trying to land the right hook. But the second time, he timed him right. He knew Beltran was going to try to land that punch again, and he caught him with that punch and, you know, hurt him. But, you know, give credit to Beltran. He's a veteran, and, you know, he fought throughout the 12th round. And, you know, nothing but respect to him. But Crawford is the real deal. And I don't see nobody at 140 really messing with him. And let's say if Pacquiao don't fight Floyd, which I hope that don't happen. I hope they fight. I would love to see Pacquiao versus Crawford in the future.
Oh, yeah. That you just took the words out of my mouth. That was going to be the next thing I was about to ask. But talking about...
that's a fight I'm not scared of.
Oh.
I just want to add something real quick about Ray Beltran, too. A lot of people nowadays, they just refer to records. And in boxing, we all know there's corruption. It doesn't always tell the tale. I think Ray Beltran, win or lose, whatever fight you thought he won or lost, he has a lot of experience. More experience, probably pro level, than Terrence Crawford. Even sparring with a dynamic fighter like Manny Pacquiao, that's tons of experience, and he's been sparring with Pacquiao for years. So a lot of people downplay, like you said, Dante, they say, oh, it was boring. It was a boring fight. And they're downplaying Ray Beltran because probably the guy that they wanted to win didn't win or whatever the situation is. And at the end of the day, Ray Beltran, I still think he's a solid fighter, and it's not his performance was just he lost to a better man. I still think there's guys he can still beat, you know what I mean, at 135. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And you know, one thing, you know, Crawford, he looked great against Beltran, in my opinion, because against Ricky Burns, I thought he was going to walk through Ricky Burns, but Ricky Burns, he actually did good in the first couple of rounds. Even got Balboa. He was impressive, you know, and he did his thing. So, and Beltran, like we talked about, you know, he's a solid fighter, and most of his losses aren't really losses, like Ego pointed out.
Yeah, and I wanted to respond to what you had said earlier, AK, when you said Crawford, he took a harder shot. He took a better shot than Ray took. But, see, this is the reason why I'm so impressed with Crawford, because, like you said, he took the harder shot, and he took it. And Ray Beltran, he got hurt with a shot that wasn't as big. So, once again, that also shows you what type of chin that Crawford has. You know, so, I mean, it was impressive. It was an impressive performance all around. And once again, we all know that if you know, they would have said that Ray Beltran won this fight, or let's just say, for example, if Beltran would have came back and rallied in the second half of the round or the second half of the fight, and they gave the decision to Ray, no one would be talking about this was a boring fight. They would all be saying, see, y'all thought Crawford was the next big thing and so on and so forth, and he just got beat by Ray Beltran, and so they would be celebrating. Even if it was the same punches. Huh? Go ahead.
They'll call him another AB, another Brown.
Yeah, another AB. Another AB.
Seeing comments like that.
Absolutely. Because we know what time it is, man. But, you know.
A lot of people.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Don't know. Some people don't know he beat Danny Garcia in the amateurs.
Yeah.
And I believe Mikey Garcia.
And,
so, I mean, I don't think he's another anybody. He's who he is. And, again, it's a lot of times in boxing, people just get salty when the fighter they wanted to win or thought was going to win didn't win, and that's all it is. I do want to add real quick, I think Gradovich won the fight.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I seen that.
I think he won, too. They robbed the Mexican-Russian.
Yeah.
Well, it was a draw, right? So he kept his belt, because I didn't get to see the fight, so I'm guessing I heard it was a draw.
Yeah.
They called it a draw, but I still say that.
I don't think it was a draw, though.
It was definitely not a draw. Gradovich, he definitely won the fight.
Second half, he Mexican Russian. He took over.
But one thing I will say is Gradovich, he not messing with Nicholas Walters or Lomachenko. So, you know, but you know that's a whole nother conversation, though. You know, but
he ain't keeping his belt for too long if he fight one of those guys.
No.
Lomachenko was the slickest in the division.
Yeah. Lomachenko is the slickest. Walters is the strongest. You know, it'll be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see if those fights come to fruition. Like I said before, like we said on the show before, it's looking like Nicholas Walters right now is not interested in fighting against Loma. And Loma, he wants to fight. But, you know, we'll see.
On.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. So another thing I wanted to say about the Crawford situation is, you know what, matter of fact, let's go ahead and move into the Fighter of the Year. Now, these are the candidates that I have right now, so because I want to fast forward so we don't run out of time. The candidates I have right now is Nicholas Walters, Sergey Kovalev, and your boy Terrence Crawford. Now, we heard, I heard Max Kellerman, he said, you know, if he wins this fight, if Crawford continues to win this fight like he is, he'll most likely be Fight of the Year. He says something like that. I'm paraphrasing. And then Jim Lampley, he basically countered by saying, well, he'll definitely be a candidate, but you also have an argument that Sergey Kovalev can also be a fighter or the Fighter of the Year. I totally disagree with Jim Lampley because if you look at Crawford's 3 performances, he fought against Ricky Burns. He went over to the UK and beat an undefeated fighter, regardless of what we think about the Ray Beltran controversy. He beat an undefeated fighter, you know. Then he beat an undefeated Yuriorkis Gamboa that Mikey Garcia didn't want to fight. And then he returned. And then his last fight, he beats Ray Beltran, which, like I said, and Max Kellerman even said, it could be argued that Ray Beltran was top 3, one of the best fighters in the division. So that's pretty hard to, you know, to beat when it comes to being a candidate or being the Fighter of the Year. Now, you also have, like, now Sergey Kovalev. My whole thing is Sergey Kovalev, he's only fought one name. And that name, unfortunately, happened to be a guy who was 50 years old. You know, so, I mean, because you can't really give it to him for fighting Caparello. And then, now, I would say my personal take on this is runner-up would probably be Nicholas Walters, unless I'm forgetting somebody. Nicholas Walters. Of course, he knocked out Vic Darchinyan in a far more impressive fashion than Nonito Donaire did. And then he came right back and he knocked out Nonito Donaire, a guy who had never even been knocked down before in the professional rankings. So I'm giving you guys my take before I ask you. I think Crawford, he completely deserves to be Fighter of the Year. I don't think any of these other contestants or candidates come close. What is your take on that, Ego?
In my opinion.
Oh, go ahead. You go ahead, AK.
Who was that?
Was that AK? Or was that Marquise?
Yeah, go ahead, Ego.
Anybody?
Go ahead, Ego. I'll go ahead, Ego.
Well, okay. Well, just to add up to what Dante said, I completely concur. And without a shadow of a doubt, Terrence Crawford gets my nod for Fighter of the Year. Much respect to everyone on the list. I think there were great performances, but if there can be only one, it's Terrence Crawford. And it's easy. Like, it's an easy decision because, like you mentioned, he fought in a hostile environment in Scotland or wherever when he fought Ricky Burns, took the belt off him, of like convincingly enough to convince the judges over there who robbed Ray Beltran of that belt. Then he fought Gamboa, who's a Olympic medalist and was undefeated, and we know has athletic ability. Not only did he do that, he was down on the muscle card halfway into the fight. He was down 5 or 6 rounds in that fight. He switched to southpaw and turned that fight around and knocked him down 3 times, which nobody's done. Gamboa's been knocked down before, been about 3 times in a single fight that I can remember, and then he got the stoppage and put the first mark on Gamboa's record. And then Ray Beltran, I think he was ranked number 2, former Pacquiao sparring partner, and just a lot of people thought he beat Ricky Burns. You look at Kovalev, great performance, but like Dante said, it was against a 50-year-old. And then you look at, it's not even the Hopkins thing. You just look at the other competition. I don't know, Cedric Agnew was that this year?
Was that and I said Bellew. It was Agnew.
Yeah.
I think it was this year.
Well, Agnew and Caparello, it's like, who are they? You know what I'm saying? That was good for him to keep his momentum and stay busy fights, but I can't rank him above someone who beat 3 ranked quality guys. Nicholas Walters is a good candidate also. He beat Vic Darchinyan, but Darchinyan was just knocked out in his previous fight. And then he stopped Nonito. So I give him a lot of credit, but I can't put him higher on the list than Terrence Crawford. Mayweather fought Maidana twice. You look at Pacquiao. If Pacquiao fought 2 Tim Bradley-rated fighters, then that would be one thing, but he didn't. He fought Bradley, gave him his first blemish, and then his second fight was against a 140-pounder with no power and who had a life-and-death fight with Ruslan. So without a shadow of a doubt, Terrence Crawford is the Fighter of the Year for those reasons, to me.
Mm-hmm. I don't think anyone. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna add, Kell Brook to the list, but of course, I don't think he's the Fighter of the Year, but you could add him to the list. He had an impressive win against Sean Porter. But at the same time, Crawford, he's the one who stands out. His 3 wins, like Ego said, I agree with everything he said. But the Fighter of the Year to me is Algieri, man. All day, every day.
Without a doubt. Oh, I forgot about Algieri. Thanks for reminding us, man.
No. The Crawford gave it.
He got into Fighter of the Year.
Yeah. I think he, but right, say Kovalev. I think him to go there and outbox Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins, he got all tricks in the trade, and basically Kovalev didn't fall for any of those tricks, and he was just pretty much outsmarting him. And not only that, when he was getting hit with those body shots in that fight, it was like, damn, what I got myself into,
Yeah, absolutely. So
he beat, Bernard Hopkins is a legend. But I can't really discredit by saying he was a 50-year-old, because he did beat some guys that was like 20 years years with him. I took that win to Kovalev.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not discrediting. Bernard Hopkins is great in anybody's resume, but again, you look at the other competition he had previous to that this year. I can't put him over Terrence Crawford. Blake Caparello, when's he fought? Like, who's he beat?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, I give him props for the Hopkins, and I told people that he was going to win, but I can't for that one performance, which was phenomenal. I'm not going to put him over someone who had 3 sensational performances against different styles.
And 3 very good opponents. You're talking about champions,
ranked,
undefeated prospects. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Come to think about it, those was 3 top 10 in the division. You know, so 3 guys in the top 10 in the lightweight division will outweigh 1 guy in the light heavyweight division. So, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, and like Ego said, it's not so much just about Bernard Hopkins' age. I mean, of course, Bernard Hopkins, he's going to look good on your resume. But like, you know, I'm just completely agreeing with what you guys just said, that it's just one person. It's one person, and Ricky Burns, Gamboa, and then Ray Beltran. You know, it's very impressive. It'll be very interesting to see if they just sidestep, go around Crawford, and they try to give it to Sergey Kovalev. I don't think they will, though, because, you know, it's just too much of a landslide in contrast.
They might as well put him in the top 10 now.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, Nonito Donaire got the nod, I think, maybe 2 years ago.
I've been thinking about that.
Like Jorge Arce, who a lot of people thought had been done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't see how – and I like Nonito. I'm from the Bay, just like Nonito Donaire, but he was fighting, like, the Japanese dude, Nobuhiro, or I forgot the dude's name.
Ishida?
Yeah. No, it wasn't Ishida.
Nobuhiro or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, he fought him and Arce, and I think maybe 2 more people, and he got it 1 year. So I really don't see, especially the quality level. Terrence Crawford fought higher-ranked guys in his own division. So we'll see.
And that's so funny that you say that, because I was thinking if Nonito Donaire got it for the 4 fighters that he fought that year, then there's no way you cannot give it to Terrence Crawford. But we'll see. We'll see what happens, you know, and then there's going to be all different type of agencies that's going to be giving out, you know, the Fighter of the Year award. So we'll see, man. We'll definitely see. But speaking of Kovalev, I just wanted to get into this real quick. It's just been announced, or at least according to Kovalev's people, Kathy Duva, that Kovalev is going to be fighting against John Pascal in the spring. I think that's a really interesting fight, man. I think that's a really interesting fight because now Kovalev, he's fighting against a young guy who's pretty much on his level, a guy who has a strong resume like he does, you know, a guy who can box and is going to be in Canada. So Kovalev will be in John Pascal's backyard. I mean, so what do you think about a fight like that, AK?
Man, I can't wait to see that one. However, at the same time, I see Pascal, you know, in them later rounds getting stopped because he don't got no gas, man. The guy he gasses out too quick. You know, in his last fight, he talking about I forgot the guy he fought. You know, he said he laid on the ropes and he said he took the punishment because he wanted to give the fans their money worth. Yeah. If you want to give the fans the money worth, you better throw them hands, not get your ass whooped.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it shows, you know, in a lot of fights he just gasses out too quick. And if you fighting, you know, somebody like Kovalev, you don't want him to lay them hands while you tired later, you know, late in the fight. So I got Kovalev, to be honest with you, by late stoppage because Pascal might do good early, but in the later rounds, he's really going to feel the pace, and he's going to feel Kovalev power, and he might stop him with body shots or head shots.
Yeah, that's a good assessment. That's a good assessment. What you think, Ego?
I like the fight a lot. Again, another ranked person, and instead of Kovalev being a champion and taking it easy, like, yo, I'm going to fight this guy, you know what I'm saying, Joey 2-time or some shit no one's ever heard of, he's fighting a guy that's notable in his own backyard. Amir Khan did it versus Lamont Peterson, went to D.C. So anytime someone, as a champion, goes to someone else's backyard, I got to give him props to that. Mm-hmm. He's a champion, and beating a Hopkins is big in the sport of boxing and in his division, so he didn't have to do that. He doesn't have to. He could be like a diva now, you know what I'm saying, and say, oh, I'm not fighting Pascal. He got to come to me in Russia, and you know what I'm saying? Like Jose Luis Castillo had a fight Ruslan Provodnikov in Russia, and everything was stacked against him besides the location, and then on top of that, you're fighting him in Russia. So it's like, what are you going to do? You're not going to get a decision over in Russia, most likely against the Russian star, and you're already outmatched at your age, and you know what I'm saying? So it was like everything was stacked against him. So I appreciate guys like Kovalev for taking on tough fights. I think he fought cleverly in his backyard. He had the Hopkins, which should have elevated his status, and he's not acting like a diva. He wants to get it on. And last but not least, it makes Adonis Stevenson look horrendous because for 2 fights now, you got guys that Adonis Stevenson was supposed to fill that position. He was supposed to be the player that was selected, and you let a 50-year-old do it and step up to the plate, go the distance with them, be the first person to go the distance with them in a while. And now is Jean-Pascal, who is in Canada with you, and he's fighting him, and you're the lineal champion. So I think Adonis Stevenson is looking real bad because everyone else is stepping up to the plate. I agree with AK. I see it either being a decision for Kovalev with him hurting Pascal or a late stoppage. But either way, I give Pascal props for even taking the fight. Adonis moved networks, and you know what I'm saying? And he let 2 other people step in those shoes that should be his. He's the champion. You're the one that knocked Chad Dawson out in 1 round, and we're watching Pascal fight Kovalev. So it's crazy. But I did like Pascal with Roy Jones in the Lucian Bute fight. I thought he looked slicker, and he was having fun in there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Marquise, what you think about it?
For John Pascal, man, I think he really got to come into this fight in the best condition, and his defense better be tight. Nah, because once Kovalev land those bombs, you damn to go down. You know. Now he been having stamina issues in the past, like around the 5th and 6th rounds. You know, that's not good. You know, for a light heavyweight. You know, he even had that problem when he was at 168 too. Now another thing is Kovalev. If you look at the Bernard Hopkins fight, he was also getting tired too, like around the 9th round. You can see him breathing out his mouth, you know, having his mouth open. So when it comes to that, the stamina, that's going to be a factor too. And if he able to negate Kovalev's power, we just going to have to see. But really, I see a late stoppage, you know, because I haven't seen him improve on his stamina, you know.
It looks like it might be a stoppage in this fight. You know, John Pascal, he likes to put his hands down a lot, and he doesn't have the greatest defense. And like you said, he exerts a lot of energy. You know, he gasses out. But I just want to say in response to what Ego has said, we basically do have to give Kovalev a lot of credit, man, because he is willing to fight anybody. I mean, he's wanted Adonis Stevenson since day 1. He took on Bernard Hopkins. Now he wants to fight John Pascal. I know he wouldn't have a problem fighting against Andre Ward. So I give him a lot of credit because he's willing to fight anyone. Now, I will just say, to Adonis' defense just slightly, he does have an opponent that he will be fighting in a couple months. I forgot what his name is. But he has an opponent. Now, he's claiming that after he beats this guy, he wants to fight against Kovalev. Maybe it's all the pressure. You know, people saying when you going to fight him. But he said he wants to fight Kovalev. Matter of fact, Adonis, he says he has no interest in fighting Bernard Hopkins. He only wants Kovalev. So we'll see, you know, what he's talking about after he beats this next opponent that he has lined up. But if we hear excuses after he beats this guy, then we know he's full of it. Then we know he doesn't want it.
He fight on the 19th.
Is it the 19th? What's the name? I forgot the name. Got the guy's name.
Nobody knows his name.
That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign.
Hey, but you know who on the undercard though?
Who?
Andre Durrell.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, it's for the IBF Eliminator. So he trying to get a shot at Frotch once again.
Nice.
See, I like Andre Durrell, and it's crazy to me how when he was with 50 Cent and SMS Promotion that you rarely seen him, and since he left, he's been fighting. This is like his 3rd or 4th fight this year. So, I mean, I like the activity level coming from him.
Yeah, he was sitting on the shelf, man. 50 had an opportunity, man, to really do big things, but turned out to be a dud, man. Hopefully Jay-Z, he does a lot better than 50 did, But
I hope Jay-Z buy Andre Ward contract.
yeah, man. I mean, he trying to buy everybody, but he always the highest bidder at these auctions when they trying to auction off these fights to be sanctioned or whatever, and nobody could even compete with him when it comes to the auctions. So we'll see, man. We'll see. But anyway, you also have Devin Alexander, man, versus Amir Khan. It's only 2 weeks away, so it's going down. This is going to be a very interesting fight. It's going to basically close out the year. So, and it's really hard. It's hard for me to lean towards anyone because, like I said, Khan, he has the foot movement. He has great speed. But at the same time, Devin Alexander is a crafty southpaw. He's not going to be like flat-footed like Luis Collazo was against Amir Khan. He's going to be moving his head. He's going to be doing some slick stuff in there. He's going to be in there. It's going to be a chess match, So, but another thing is both of these fighters, they like to tie up on the inside. Neither one of these fighters really fight on the inside, but I would probably lean towards Alexander and say he fights on the inside a little bit better than Amir Khan does. So I don't know, man. It's still 50-50 with me, man. What you think, Ego?
I agree. This is really hard for me to pick, and that's what I like about boxing, like those fights where you can make a strong case for both fighters, and that's how this fight is. Amir Khan traditionally and historically does good with southpaws, and it seems like he's kind of getting his footing with Virgil Hunter. He had some shaky performances, like the Julio Diaz fight where he got knocked down. He didn't look that great to me, but he's like he found his home in his Luis Collazo fight. But you got to look at Collazo, and that's my dude, but it's a guy who's been pretty under the radar and active in recent memory, and he had an opportunity after beating Victor Ortiz, but we didn't really get to see much out of that Ortiz fight because it ended in the second round, and then he got the Khan shot, and I thought he didn't look good. But props to Khan for the 3 knockdowns. I don't think anyone's knocked Collazo down. And then as far as Devin Alexander, he lost, and he's trying to get back to that rank recognition. So it's a real good fight. I'm leaning towards Khan because he seems like he's getting more a good feeling with Virgil Hunter. But personally, I think Khan was more dangerous. Some people are going to disagree, but when he was with Freddie Roach, he was more dangerous, but it was more of a gamble because he was liable to get caught with that punch that could change and alter the event. But when he was overwhelming guys with speed and reckless, I think that's more of his natural fighting style than what he's doing with Virgil Hunter. But I understand why Hunter's doing that because if a lot of people say he has a glass chin, if he's susceptible to taking those big shots, then you're going to try to safeguard that kink in the armor. So it's a good fight. I think both fighters are game, but I'm leaning towards Khan, I believe.
You know what's interesting with you saying that, Ego, is it's funny because Freddie Roach, he's supposed to be known for being an aggression type trainer. He doesn't really think too much about defense. Matter of fact, Amir Khan, he even said that Freddie Roach is good with aggression, but he doesn't really teach defense. What's funny to me is it seemed to me that when Khan was with Freddie Roach, he was running more around the ring like a chicken with his head cut off, as opposed to what he's doing right now. I mean, now he's with Hunter. He's starting to learn how to fight a little bit more on the inside. He looks a little bit more comfortable on the inside, like when he fought against Carlos Molina. I seen him trying to, implement some of that Andre Ward stuff. Getting in on the inside, smothering, trying to use, hooks, trying to work on the inside. Before Khan, he never really worked on the inside. When you got close to him, he would clinch. He would never even throw any punches on the inside. So I don't really know if Freddie Roach, if he was better when he was with Freddie Roach. I think since he's become with Hunter, he started to calm down and relax a little bit more because he used to run around the ring like he was panicking, especially when he fought against Lamont Peterson. Man.
Maidana even.
And Maidana too.
He was definitely skipping around like Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz in that fight.
100 miles and running. 100 miles and running, boy.
in my opinion, though, man, you know, I don't know if I'm the only guy who thinks this fight is an 80-20 in favor of Khan, because I just can't. I just can't see Alexander.
80-20 for who?
Khan.
For Khan, I just can't see Alexander outboxing him, man. In my opinion, it's gonna be a walk in the park unless Alexander catches him and knocks him out, and then that much power, so I can't see it happening. I mean, Khan, when you again, I saw him face, he looked great against Zabjuda, Collazo, even in the amateurs. You know, when he beat the Cuban veteran in the Olympics, he killed him, man.
Yeah.
And he just looked good against southpaws. So and not just that, also he against Paulie Malignaggi, which is another boxer who can't punch.
Another great performance too.
He really looked good in that fight. So the only thing that disappointed me about Amir Khan the most is his upper body movement. He don't move his head as much. And that, you know, for a boxer, he needs to do that a little more often. He relies on blocking too much, and you can't block all the punches, you know, with his feet too. But at the same time, you know, by using his footwork. But at the same time, you know, I can't really see Alexander outboxing Khan and winning a unanimous decision. So, you know, I'd be shocked if Alexander pulled this one off. But I'm going for Khan by murder, man.
By murder. Hey, but you know what? Go ahead.
Now, when it comes to this fight, neither guy is a great fighter on the inside, but I'll lean towards Alexander since he knows how to do just a bit more than Khan. You know, I don't look at this fight as a 80-20. I look at it more like 60-40, because I don't know how Devin Alexander going to be able to deal with Amir Khan's speed. Now, speed not everything, because Lamont Peterson, he pretty much proved that when they fought in D.C. in 2011. So, man, overall, Devin Alexander, he's going to have to smother him and fight him on the inside, even though we know that's not really his style.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what he's going to have to do since he got the edge in fighting on the inside. Now, I'll lean towards Amir Khan because I don't think Devin Alexander really going to pull the triggers and try to fight him on the inside.
Well, I got a question, though. Y'all think Alexander's game plan will be box the boxer or fight the boxer?
Are you asking what he should do or what he most likely will do?
I'm asking, do y'all think he should box the boxer or fight the boxer? Because
he would have to bang. He would have to bang the boxer.
Because
he
said bang the boxer.
He would definitely have to bang the boxer because, and that's pretty much what Marquise was saying. He don't think he's going to do that. He's never really done it before. He would definitely have to do it in this fight. You know, and that's something that, you know, a fighter like, once again, a Terrence Crawford, a Floyd Mayweather, they would know how to adjust like that. We don't know. It's yet to be seen if Devin Alexander, if he can adjust, because he's going to have to jump on Amir Khan and smother him, you know, not give him a chance to think, not give him a chance to breathe. And I don't know if that's the type of fighter that Devin Alexander is.
You know? I agree with that. And then the other thing for me, too, is in the heart department, Khan has shown more heart than Devin Alexander. I can't forget when fighters do stuff that throws me off. Like when Devin Alexander begged for the Timothy Bradley fight, because remember there was a big build-up and they were both talking trash. And in that fight, he basically quit in that particular fight. Khan, whether he's hurt in the Maidana fight, hurt in the Danny Garcia fight, he's always game. He shows a ton of heart. So it's hard for me to, like you guys are saying, to picture Devin Alexander overcoming. Like, what is he going to do if he's behind the scorecard? And he showed a little bit in the Lee Purdy fight, that aggressive walk-you-down type style, but Lee Purdy versus Amir Khan is leagues above Lee Purdy and 10 times faster, taller, rangier, and he's improving his style with Virgil Hunter. So it's a tall order for Devin Alexander. I think Devin Alexander has more to prove because he's not this big puncher like a Danny Garcia or whatnot. So it'll be good.
Yeah, it certainly will be. So we only have 2 minutes left.
What about the undercard?
The undercard of what Keith Thurman against, what is it, Bundu? That's the only fight I really.
Anybody picking him?
He just stopped late.
I'm picking Bundu by first round knockout.
he probably got a shot, man. You know, he got an undefeated record. I haven't seen him, man. People saying he could box. I don't know.
I think he gets stopped late.
Yeah, you think he gets stopped late? I mean, what country is he even from? I don't even know where the dude is from.
England, I think.
Oh, he's from England?
I believe he's from England.
Have anybody seen him? Or y'all just predicting based on Thurman? Have anybody seen him fight?
I've seen a highlight of some fight.
Oh,
yeah, I've seen some of Bundu. He's undefeated. It's hard to beat down a guy in the submission that has the undefeated record. And then the other thing is Thurman's coming off of an injury, so I think it's probably more competitive than people are giving credit based on those two things. The guy's undefeated, and we don't know much about him, and that could lead to underestimation. You can underestimate somebody, so I think it'll be competitive more than people think. But I rock with Keith Thurman.
Okay. And then also Victor Ortiz. Do you know who he's fighting? Because you said he's going to be fighting on the undercard.
A bomb.
Yeah, he ain't.
Yeah, I know it. I was in Omaha. He's fighting Manny Perez.
Manny Perez.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He fought Brandon Rio.
Yeah, well,
he's cool.
It'll be interesting to see if Victor Ortiz. I still want to see Ortiz versus Berto. You know, the rematch. You know, let the two bums, you know, fight it out. No, I ain't gonna say that. I'm not gonna call y'all bums. That was a joke. But you know.
Hey. I get in there with that shoulder roll again.
Yeah, yeah. Poke his bottom lip out and shoulder roll. Don't do that again.
Shit.
Don't do that again.
Looking like a gorilla.
He better not do it.
Man, that fight, if Victor Ortiz don't quit, I pick him.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Andre Berto, man, to lose to Soto Carras, oh man, I kind of lose all respect, man. You lose to somebody like Soto Carras, man. But anyway, guys, we pretty much all out of time, man. Once again, I want to thank my guests online, Eagles World, a.k.a. Arabking, and my man Marquise. And you know your host, Dontae's Boxing Nation. Check us out. We'll see you guys next week, Tuesday, Pacific Standard Time, 4 p.m. I'm on to the next one.